You're on record.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel, Zero to Freedom. I'm really excited today to be talking to a marvelous man called Stephen Hill. He's a yoga teacher, a writer, and he knows a lot about sound and sound alchemy. He does gong baths. So, with that being said, I want to basically really delve into how useful sound can be in healing, because I've been using it for a while. And that's why I just want to open up the floor to Stephen. Welcome, Stephen.
Hello.
Hiya.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, it is morning, just about. Thank you so much for coming on. And I just really want you to kind of do like a beginner's guide to sound and how people can use sound and work with sound, because I know since we met, I mean, obviously, I forgot to say you're also an energy healer, a yoga teacher and a writer. I think I said the other ones.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get it all in there, yeah? So we actually met through you doing a gong bath. So I'm going to just open up the floor to you. I just wanted to do a little bit of background.
Yeah.
So if you could just tell how my health was when we met up till what it is now, which is so much better. I'm still on the journey, still progressing. So Stephen, please.
Okay, great. Can you see me on the screen okay first?
Yeah, I can absolutely see you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So just a little bit of background then. So yes, we met when I was doing a gong bath in Emsworth, if I remember rightly, and that was probably about a year ago. And so I've been doing gong baths for about 5 or 6 years, but my original interest in sound was when I attended one myself. So I get invited to was getting invited to these things now and again when I was teaching yoga, because they quite often occur after yoga retreats or yoga sessions, that kind of thing. And I went to one and I thought, well, this is rather nice. I think that it just felt kind of natural for me to do it. So cut a long story short, I then went on a training course for a few days and bought my own and started doing them. That was about 6 or 7 years ago, I think. And I've been.
So did you, sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to ask you, did you get involved for your health, or you just felt kind of like cool to do it as a natural progression from doing the yoga that you've been working with?
The only way I can describe it honestly was that it just felt like a natural thing to do. I didn't really decide for it, but any particular reason. It just felt something that I ought to do is the best way I can describe it. And I've kind of understand that better now, I think, which is that, sound is a very ancient tool for healers. In fact, I think it was Archimedes certainly used it in ancient Greek times. And most cultures have used sound in the form of gongs, drums, or sticks or whatever throughout history. So and if you think about it, we all know that music has an effect on us.
Exactly.
If you generalize,
we're just a bit divorced from that, aren't we? Because we've just gone so much into this model, which is really divorced from anything from the real, from the sacred, anything from nature. Basically, we're kind of really in the Western world divorced from that. Obviously, you have the indigenous people and the shamans that are really much connected to it still. But we just have no clue. We're just like, oh, sound.
I think that's generally true. I think that's generally true. But it's it's certainly changing. And I've got a few friends who think quite the reverse of that, really. So I began sound healing without really understanding the difference between using it as a relaxation method and as a healing method. And it was only as I became a little bit more advanced, probably, in using it that I realized there was a difference. So an awful lot of gong baths that you go to, they're very relaxing, very pleasant, but there's not really any kind of spiritual healing associated with it. And that's really dependent, I think, upon the guy or the woman who's giving the gong bath.
And their level of knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. So, when I first started, it was very much about relaxation, and it was, it's lovely. It's, chill out and feel good afterwards. But then I eventually realized that I was actually, through the gong, communicating at a sort of deeper level with people and feeling their feelings, if you like. And that's tied
what
in
I
with
felt.
Sorry?
I was just saying, I'd never, I just started going to this place called the Hayloft, and I'd never, ever experienced anything like gong baths, or I was really new to everything like energy healing, all of that kind of stuff. And I had a really deep, profound experience. Like, I mean, it wasn't for me, it wasn't a relaxing experience. I think if you've got a lot of stuff going on in your body, it's not always a pleasant experience because it's resonating deep in you. And it's not, I wasn't laying there blissed out. It was kind of actually, it was making me rub certain places, my hips, and you said a lot of emotions carried in the hips. So it was very like a profound experience, but not necessarily a comfortable one. And I think people forget that healing's not, you know, when people say they've got this idea in their mind, healing and like doing work like that, and it's all like you bliss and you're skipping around and stuff like that. But it's just not like that. It can be very, very uncomfortable because we have to get rid of the stuff that's in us to kind of move forward.
Yeah, exactly. You put your finger on it. Well, I'm glad you felt that in that class actually, because that was very much a healing gong bath, I would say.
Yeah.
And you weren't the only person there who felt that, and one or two felt uncomfortable in the same way, I think.
Yeah.
But the talking about you, clearly over the last year or so since then, you've moved on quite a lot. We haven't really done the sound healing much more, but certainly we've done the energy healing that's related to it.
Yeah.
But also, if you think about it, you know, energy and sound, they're both vibrations in different ways. If you accept that, then they're just different means of using that vibration to do the healing. So the same sort of feelings that you had from the gong bath or from the gong are exactly the kind of thing that we would do when we're doing the sound healing direct, really, through my hands or whatever other mechanism.
Yeah, I mean, even though after the initial gong bath I've had, something awakened in me, and in the last, I don't know, in the last year, and I've talked to you about this, I've been really using sound a lot and just kind of just intuitively knowing what kind of sounds to make, and kind of like, I guess, sounded like shamanic sounds that you hear, like Indians like chanting and stuff. And it's, as I've got more and more in tune with my body and kind of realized just a bit of, I've explained this on other videos, but kind of lost, but a bit disillusioned with the medical profession, and kind of just realized that I had to rely on myself, and I had to just literally find all the tools that I needed myself. So sounds just started like coming up, and just certain vibrations and everything. And that's really how the gong's working as well, isn't it? Like how it's
well, the best way I can describe when I do a gong bath is that it feels like a conversation, and the conversation is firstly between me and the gong, but then also between the gong and the listener. And in effect, what I've written about this in my book, but the one I've
read, gong baths. Is that under your? Because you obviously, well, people don't know this, but you've written a few different things. So this is under Stephen Hill,
Yeah, it is.
Gong bath book. Okay, where can people get that? Just quickly.
On Amazon, you can buy it. I think it's called Gong Bath's Guide to Sound Healing or something like that.
You should know what your book's called. Honestly.
It's an Audible version as well, and that's got a different name, and I can't remember why I did that. So.
Okay, we'll let you get away with that one then.
Okay, thanks.
Not good promotion. All right.
But even within that book, I definitely write about the connection and the fact that I can sense what is going on in other people, both individually and collectively through the gong. That's the best way of describing it. So I'm conversing with the gong, but the gong is conversing with the individual. And in a sense,
do you think it's because you're intuitive? I'm really sorry. I just had to jump in there because you're highly intuitive. Like, you know, when you work with energy, you can really tell where things are going on. So do you think you need to have that before you're able to start working with sound, or did that come before or afterwards, or does it matter?
Well, you know, we're all capable of doing it. You know, we're all vibrational beings, so we're all capable of the intuition. But there's usually obstacles in the form of beliefs or, you know, past beliefs that we have that stop us doing it. So
and even about getting better too, isn't it? Even like you've said to me, like you can start healing and be healed, but it's your mind holding on to you know, that suffering pattern, that belief that no, I'm ill, I can't get better.
Yeah, exactly. Well, certainly my journey it started with yoga really, and then the meditation that followed from that led me to realize certain things just kept arising, and intuition was one of them. I just kept having these feelings about people, and gradually that refined, and that I suppose is what led me to the sound healing.
And how long have you been doing everything for? How long have you been on this journey for?
I suppose in a way it's interesting. I was about 40, I think, when I first started doing yoga, and in fact, what I think is funny, my first instruction to my yoga teacher, I had some private lessons for a while, was I don't want any of that, you know, spiritual mumbo jumbo. I just want to do this for fitness. Which is quite
that's
ironic,
what you said to them. That's what, and now look at you now.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of ironic.
How things go. That is really funny, actually.
Yeah. What did you
just slip into it? Sorry, say that again.
I started. Well, I suppose it keeps me fit as well, as was what I was saying.
Yeah,
But
it is, but
it's kind of
that's important.
unavoidable. If you think about it, your bodies, your material, or your physical body, your spiritual body, and your mental bodies are all linked.
Yeah,
So if you
exactly. Yeah.
improve the fitness in your physical body,
Your
then you're
vessel,
almost
as it
bound
were.
to enliven the others, and that's
Yeah,
exactly what happened, I think, in my case. So,
it makes
so
so
it
much
began with
sense.
some
We just,
intuition.
yeah, exactly. It makes so much sense. It just people, we just don't think about it, do we? Come from a very kind of separation perspective, like this is the
Yeah,
physical, this is a this is a this. And I think we're moving now. I really feel there's a shift in the world for people to really,
yeah,
I mean, how many people do energy healing? How many people have been healed by so many different mediums? We just don't, it's just not publicized. We don't hear about it. But I really believe now, and we've talked about it too, that there's just a massive shift going on at the moment where people are just, we're going back to nature's pharmacy, our inner pharmacy,
yeah,
being in tune and connected with ourselves, because everything is there for
yeah,
us. It's just accessing it. And
yeah.
you know it's
Yeah,
only going to be so
I
long till
think
we
you're
get
right,
back to
Jason.
that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
listen,
I mean,
where I've got to is really the point where I realise that actually our mind creates everything, or our minds
exactly.
create everything, and therefore, if you do enough meditation, then you'll automatically be able to improve other things, and those other things will improve your physical health, as you've experienced, I think.
Yeah, oh my god, I
But
mean, what did
also,
I look like? I mean, I'm not, nothing is done. I'm not, cooked. Don't take me out of the oven yet. But
yeah,
as I said to you last night, but the way I feel compared to what, I mean, I couldn't get off the sofa. I was having
yeah,
fits.
I
So like,
remember.
I was gonna
Yeah,
cry. Like literally
yeah,
my life, it was just a case of sink or swim. So
yeah,
when you've come in and supported me with that, and
yeah,
with all the other tools I'm using too, like, just thank you so much, because it was the case of either just literally sinking or swimming, and I was sinking for quite a while.
yeah,
So if people want to actually, sorry, just say this now, but if
yeah.
people want to work with you, you're still available for energy healing remotely, or like in person,
Yeah,
or
well,
any?
obviously under the current circumstances, although I
Yeah.
largely ignore the restrictions as much as I can, because for me, that personal connection is quite an important one.
Well,
But
kind
I
of is
do
for
remote
humans, isn't
healing.
it?
Yeah. Well, different views about it. Let's not get into the whole COVID thing right
Yeah,
now.
no, oh, no, 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 God, no, that is not on topic at all. We're talking about, this is a channel to empower, to
Yeah,
find out tools to support ourselves, and in doing that, supporting immunity, which is going to put us in a better place if
exactly.
anything does come along. And that's what, yeah, I don't, on this channel, I don't talk about, political stuff. Like, I touch on medical things, but just from my personal experience. So
Yeah,
absolutely not
yeah,
getting, we're not touching that one with a
yeah.
barge pole.
Good. Right,
So
good.
yeah, sorry. So you will work. You are working with people
Yeah,
currently, yeah?
I have a number of clients, and I only really work on recommendations. I don't really, well, I do have a website. It's sjhyoga.com. So if people want to
Okay,
look
I'll
at
put a
that,
link, everyone. I'll put a link down
yeah,
below, and like with all Stephen's, and also I will put links to the Gong Bath book and everything
yeah,
too,
okay,
because
yeah,
I
do
think
great,
I've read that, and that's really really useful. If people
yeah,
want to start finding out about stuff.
yeah, good. And so yes, I do it. I'm not free, and I'm certainly not cheap either. I don't think, but
No, you
I
don't
like
even
to
need
think
to
I do
say
good
that.
at
Why would it be free? People never expect things for free in this life. In
Well,
fact,
you'd be
if you gave
surprised.
it for
Some people
free,
do. Yeah,
well, yes, yeah, I'm sure some people do, but like, no.
yeah.
So how?
But
So
I
sorry,
don't make
just
my
so,
living out of it. I do it because I can, and
yeah, you're
and
very good at
the
it.
fact is that it's something that I strongly believe we all can do, but
Yeah.
we can help each other to get there. Really. So
Yeah, oh, that's beautiful. And if you want to work with Stephen, like, really, honestly, I can't say enough. He has helped me exponentially. I can't even describe what he's done. He's helped me so much. And
yeah,
just like, we've become friends and we've been on a journey, and I've kind of been hungry for information,
yeah,
because it's like, this journey is like, you start and then you want more, because you see things having an effect and you want
yeah.
to find out more.
Yeah, it's interesting, just to talk about you. I mean, I don't see things visually in that sense, but
Mm,
I feel them is a better way of describing it. But if I
yeah,
were to give a visual description of how you were when we met, there's an awful lot of blackness inside your body, and
yeah,
it's centered right in the core of your body.
yeah,
And in effect, if you like, the energy healing I do was removing that blackness. And
yeah,
of course, it can be removed, but if you hold on to these strong beliefs that you had, then they return, and the blackness kind of returns. So it's although it's kind of swept away when I see you, it comes back largely because of those.
Because of the mind.
It's those limiting beliefs that really direct that. And so they can be removed
and that comes from, you have to keep coming back until your mind catches up. And just briefly, I just want to touch on, because I talk a lot about healing from trauma, and all this stuff is amazing for that. And you have to go on a journey, like from, you know, addiction to abuse. I just really want people to know who watch this channel that you can bring yourself back from anything using the right tools. It's just not about layering medication on top of medication. If you're prepared to face pain and stare it down, you find that that pain you're facing is a lot less scary than all the things you've been covering up. You know, say if you've got like neurological disorder, your PTSD, you know, there is hope. There is absolutely so much hope. So working with people like Stephen just can be just open the door, just having that bit of faith in something different. And often people, when they go the conventional route and they just get so frustrated, then they look into people like you when it's like the end of the tether. Yeah,
it wasn't actually my journey. As I said, it just kind of arose naturally with me as a result of doing the yoga and the meditation, really. And and for me, always the path to increasing, or the method for increasing my abilities, was always through the meditation. Now, other people had different paths, as you know, but that was very much mine. And so I've very rarely ever consulted a medical man, for that matter. I wouldn't even think about doing
it. You're completely healthy, aren't you? And like, you're doing pretty good, and that is a testament to it, really. So if people want to get into just saying, people are completely new to everything, they really don't know about anything like this, is there any kind of tips you can do? Because I know you're really into breath work too, like just sound alchemy using breath. I mean, can you give people any tips of how to start just working with sound? I mean, people aren't going to go out and start buying a gong who are like, you know, who are just getting into it. So how can people just work with sound?
Well, I think first of all, if you accept, you know, the physicists will tell you anyway that we're all essentially vibrations. You know, that although you may look solid, you're not actually very solid. You know, molecules all vibrate.
Was it 99.9% energy and 0.0001% matter?
You tell me. I'm not a scientist, but
nor am I. But I just read that the other day.
That's fine.
But it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I suppose the best way of describing it is that if you accept that, then you know that sound, and you know that the energy can be manipulated by manipulating the vibrations, if you like. So the best way I found of starting or getting people to start helping themselves is to concentrate on their own breathing in the first case. And it's actually even as simple as just taking deeper breaths in a mindful kind of way. And slowly, do you want to
run through a few? Do you want to do you feel comfortable with just kind of, you know, just kind of explaining a couple of breath works, like, for people?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, I keep it absolutely, to start with, as really as simple as possible. You know, we all know how to breathe deeply, don't we? But actually we usually don't.
Exactly. Well, we can when we're a baby, we come out, but as soon as that, we very shallowly breathe, don't we?
So most people breathe actually just up here. They very rarely use their belly. So I think the best way to describe it is if you visualize the entirety of your chest right down to your abdomen as a single.
I'm going to do it with you now.
Okay, good. Well, so visualize that as a barrel, in effect.
Okay.
And there are three elements to the barrel. There's call them a lower, a middle, and an upper section. So if you take a nice slow in-breath, as slow as you can, start off right at the bottom of that belly and fill up that bottom third. And then the second third, try and expand the side of your chest.
Out.
And the top third is really filling it up here. And then when you're full,
so it's coming from up.
Yeah, so it's filling up slowly, but make sure you expand your chest sideways. And then as you're ready to breathe out, just let the breath come out nice and slowly as well.
Are we making any particular sound?
Well, no, don't worry about sound for the moment. Just make sure you concentrate on the breath, really. We'll worry about sound.
Just focusing on filling up all those three sections.
So fill the belly. Don't, you know, I'm not saying swell your abdomen, but make sure it feels full. And then filling the sides of your chest, and then filling up to the top of your chest. So think of it in those three, and then out in a nice slow breath. Don't hold your breath. There are other issues around holding your breath. I won't go into now. But if you do that nice and slowly, that has, you know, if you think about it, when we're fearful of something, we tend to breathe very shallowly. You know, we'll only breathe at the top of our chest. So almost by definition, really, if you're breathing using the whole of your body, or the whole of your trunk of your body, then you will automatically relax. And if you do about probably half a dozen of those, you should feel more relaxed.
Well, it's
increasing the
immediately you
level
feel
of
like a
oxygen in the
melting.
blood. Yeah.
Exactly, and just opening and relaxing and releasing your nervous system too, like your nervous plexus. It just immediately, you know, just from doing those 3 breaths I did, you know, I do a lot of stuff with breath, but you know, for beginners, you got to take it right down and really think about
exactly.
filling
Well,
that up.
I think you'll find that most people breathe at about 15 breaths a minute. But actually a yoga teacher like me, for example, would be breathing down to probably about 10. And
okay, so that's quite,
it's quite a difference really. And the difference comes from the depth that we breathe. And
you're breathing more effectively too. So you don't need, you're getting just as much oxygen.
Yeah.
But
probably more oxygen actually. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because, you know, you're filling your lungs and in effect keeping them full. So once you've got used to doing that deeper breathing, then yes, you can use a little bit of sound work. So for instance, one of the things we do is make a slightly guttural sort of sound at the back of our throat.
Let's give it a go then. So you're breathing in deep from the tummy again.
Yeah, through the nose.
Filling it all up, yeah.
And still breathing out through the nose, but make a sound at the back of your throat, like a roaring sound, a gentle roaring sound.
Okay, can you just give me a...
That's it, like that. That's it.
Is that better? Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And just explain for people what this particular thing is doing.
So what that breath is really doing, I mean, number one, that it's filling you're using your lungs properly in the first place, and that's the bigger effect.
Yeah.
But then the secondary effect is that sound at the back is actually clearing rubbish out from your body, in effect.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually getting rid of negative energy. And it's coming out through your nose is the best way of describing it.
So you're kind of like rasping in a way.
Yeah.
It feels quite strange to do it actually. It really, it's kind of strange sensation.
Yeah, exactly. Now there are lots of yogic practices around that are available rather that can improve on that. But as a basic starting point, I think that's a good one. And if you practice that, even if you just if you do it, I don't know, if you're sitting watching TV or sitting at a bus stop or anywhere really.
Yeah, anywhere, literally anywhere.
Yeah,
and also if people are suffering with trauma, like, you know, I mentioned before, because I'm doing like a series on trauma, and you can feel, you know, your anxiety rising. Just really connect with your breath. Do what Stephen said. Just really, just focus on that. And maybe if at the bus stop you don't want to start going, but you know, like just the fact of just that simple breath. I mean, I used to have fits. I had absences all the time, and that was trauma based. And just the breath alone, I've been able to completely, you know, and sound control, and you know, with Stephen's work too. So these are I just want people to know these are such powerful techniques. You know, this is not just a bit of breathing. Oh, you know, what's that going to do?
Yeah, it's easy to dismiss.
So powerful.
Yeah. But actually, what happens then is that the other effect actually is you become a little bit more mindful. You know, it's partly the concentration in the first place on the breath, and the fact that you are concentrating on your breath and kind of taking time out to do that. That'll help on its own. But
it's actually the focus on its own
is going to have a longer term effect, and you will find that you may even lapse into meditating without realizing it as a result of doing that kind of breath work. In fact.
Which would be just amazing for people.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Especially at these times, there's so much, like, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of that, but just what's going on. There's so much fear. People like are in a state of fight or flight all the time, and that's just literally making people compounding, like, you know, your lack of immunity, because you're contracted. You're like, your body's not in its most resilient space that it can be. So you're just going to literally, anything that comes, your body's just going to be like, because you're constantly, you're not in a healing mode. You're not in a relaxed state.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jason. I mean, there is a lot of negative energy around. I mean, one of the other things that you could do is just make sure that you protect yourself from that, because actually a way of removing that fear from within you is to carry on doing the breath work that we just described. But then obviously if you're going to be surrounded by people who have that kind of negative energy, then that will have an effect on you unless you know how to protect yourself from it.
So
So
go
the
on,
other thing
tell
to
us
bear,
then, for people who don't work with energy or anything, they don't mean people, you don't need to go and do a course, people. We all have energy. We've got a toroidal field around us. We don't, Stephen's going to tell you now, just, you know, he's going to explain how to do this. Like, you don't have to be like an ascended master, you know, you can mindfully do this and you will protect your energy field that's
yeah,
around you. So
yeah, that's exactly right. And I think I think the easiest way for people to do that is a very simple visualization, actually, so that.
mm,
Um, but be aware, you know, I think the best way of explaining is if you accept that you're an energy being and other people are
yeah,
energy beings and you interact, then if you are picking up negative energy, which you will be because you'll exchange them.
of
That's
course,
how
you
we
can't
interact.
help but, can you? You
Exactly.
just can't.
But if
Okay.
you are, particularly if you're around people that you don't know, for example, then it's certainly worthwhile protecting yourself from that, or at least limiting the amount of energy that you might be losing.
Yeah.
And the best way of
And
doing
how
that,
do people do that? Okay, sorry, yeah.
no, I think the best way of visualizing it, just to finish that thought, is that if you imagine that people use coats and all sort of thing, the one that I always thought was
Yeah.
most effective, honestly, is if you just picture a zip from, in effect, from the lower belly right the way up to the top of your head, if you want,
Right.
certainly up to here,
Yeah.
and then if you close your eyes and visualize that as a kind of a jacket around your body, and you zip it up, and that acts
Physically,
as your
actually, sort of
protection.
just with your mind thinking, just physically
Yeah.
actually zip it
Oh,
up.
and actually, it helps to reinforce it. You know, go like that.
Yeah.
And
Because when people
then
first start doing that, it's easier for them to actually kind of actually start using tools like to make them their mind. And then afterwards, you don't really need to do that. You don't need to
that's
physically
right.
do it. But
Well, the
I
key is
think
that,
people,
yeah, the key is the visualization. Really, if you visualize that
exactly.
as a protection, then it will be
Yeah.
a protection. Yeah,
Yeah. But just for when people are starting that, you know, we've talked about this a couple of times, you know, those tools to get people there. So yeah, if
yeah,
you need to physically, you know, if you're suffering with anxiety, you're feeling particularly stressed one day,
yeah,
just try it. Try that
yeah,
breath, and then try, you know, energetically zipping yourself up and really
yeah,
visualizing that your energy is being, you know, protected.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
think that's really, it helps me a lot.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. You know, if you have the time, the third best thing I think you can do is just take a bit of quiet time to yourself. And actually, there are methods of meditating, and there are people who teach. You know, I teach meditation, for example. But
Okay. Oh, you teach I didn't actually know you taught meditation too. So
yeah,
let's just lay it out for people. So you teach for people interested. I'm going to put all the links down here.
okay,
You're an energy healer. So you work with hands on or hands off, because I
yeah,
know generally you work hands off, don't you?
yes, I do. Yeah,
So you teach yoga. What
yeah.
type of yoga is it?
It's based on Iyengar yoga, really. So
Okay.
it's very much about correct position and alignment of the body, using the
Okay.
breath and the body in conjunction,
Oh,
and
okay.
then that will lead to a natural meditative state, and then to the higher states of yoga, which are basically
Okay.
leading up towards enlightenment, if you like. So,
Perfect. Who doesn't want that? So
yeah.
basically people can come to you as a beginner though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And to be honest with you, I teach. Well, I teach in classes and retreats, but I quite like
Yeah.
working with individuals as well because it's
Yeah.
just you can advance much more quickly. So
Yeah, well, obviously you do one to one. Do you have any retreats coming up or anything?
yeah, well, because of the whole COVID thing, we've cancelled this
Yes.
year's. But at the moment,
Oh, such a shame.
we're planning the first one in January,
Okay.
and
And where will that
that
be? Do
will
you know yet?
it'll either be in Glastonbury or Dorset. We haven't decided yet.
Oh, if it's
Yeah,
in Glastonbury, I'm coming.
yeah. Well,
So will you have
that would
people
be
can
my
find out
preferred
about
method.
this on your, oh, I'm so sorry sorry, carry on.
No, no, no. So you can find out about it. We'll as soon as I've got a definite date, we'll put it on the website.
Perfect.
But we're actually I'm going to start training teachers as well. So energy
Ooh,
healing, people teaching people to
okay.
energy heal, as
To
well
do
as
what you
teaching
do,
yoga to do what I do. And
Okay,
I'm
so
going to
if
start
people,
that in
if you're
March.
interested in March, okay, so if you're really interested in what we've been talking about and you want to empower yourselves and
Yeah,
start learning the tools and learning what actually we are in our body, you know, the
yeah,
energy in our bodies is pretty much everything. If you want to learn these techniques, and I highly, highly recommend, you
yeah,
know, that you get involved and you get in touch with Stephen, because he's a very, very good teacher.
yeah.
And yeah, my journey with him has been amazing. So yeah, get involved if you want to know more. And like I said, I'll put all the links and stuff like that. And
Okay.
just going back to the
Good.
sound, yeah. So no, listen, I only speak the truth. If it, I wouldn't even have you on if you're amazing. So if people can be helped by what you do, that's what this channel is about. So I want to share you. Share you with the world, Stephen. Right, we're going to be wrapping up in a second. So you finish up with anything more you want to say?
Well, the only thing I think is that start by making yourself confident in it. And I think if you do a bit of breath work and a bit of meditation on your own, then you'll start to feel better, and you'll start to become hopefully aware of the energies of people around you. And then
you do, don't you?
people like me can act as a guide then at that point, and there are plenty of other techniques, much more advanced techniques, really, to develop that energy awareness that will then grow into intuition and so forth. And at some point, you will probably want to work on yourself, and that's the point at which we transition really into teaching you how to do what I do. And that journey can take some time.
It's a long journey,
a few years,
It depends how motivated you are. So, I mean, a lot of people who have come in with like chronic health and stuff, and they're so exasperated with everything. Then people, they're really like, right, I'm ready. I want to learn. I know that I can do more than this. And they're really, really gung ho, and they really want to go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to,
although, in a sense, that can also be a limit, because
really?
Well, the trouble is your ego is kind of wrapped up in that, and you kind of have to make sure that your ego gets out of the way at the same time. So
that's the thing. You really have to detach from the little mind, don't you? Because you're so in your mind when you're thinking about something, it completely takes you away from everything else you're doing. That's the hardest thing to unravel. That's the hardest thing to detach from, because we're just taught everything to react from the ego.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about it, if you've got that kind of, complex of illnesses in the first place, again, if you accept what I said about us being energy beings, there's something in your mental and spiritual state that has generated that. And so
exactly, you've brought it to you, and it might be generational too. You might have been passed down wounds, but also it's like a pattern. You basically will be attracting things, that unresolved things, past traumas, bringing them into physical manifestation, basically.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's not that mysterious if you think about it. We all accept that our health is affected by our circumstance. If you break up a marriage or whatever, and that you end up with nervous conditions and so forth. All I'm saying really is the reverse is true. So you deal with the physical and deal with the mental aspects of that, and you feel better.
And this is what's so funny, when there's so much separation from when you go to, medical things and that. But how do they measure? How do they measure our hearts? How do they measure our brains? By the electrical field, like the energy around us, the energy within us. There's it's not going to go on for too much longer now, where it's kind of like polarized. This is energy stuff. This is the one that works, because we have functional medical doctors now. We have. It's just such a huge movement. It can't, it's just, you can't kind of deny its efficacy, can you?
No, exactly. Well, I think it's accepted that things like Reiki work and so forth. And Reiki is the same energy. You don't have to go through all the sort of, I don't want to use an impolite word, but to me, a lot of the Reiki stuff is a lot of unnecessary description of what is basically the energy.
Reiki's great though. I know what you're saying. It's all one energy, and having all these different disciplines to get to the one thing, it's all kind of just flat, it's just all decoration really. But everyone has their tools, don't they? I mean, I started with Reiki too. So, and you've done Reiki also. And now obviously you kind of move to the echelons. I do know what you mean. know what you mean. But Reiki is
I think the same applies to things like shamanic energies and so forth. They're all basically describing the same thing, but they decorate them in different ways. So
it's like different cultures, different people come into it in a different way, like different religions. You're going to. It's not like 10 gods, is there? No. Well, I don't want to get into that one either. Let's leave that one alone.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So just wrapping up. Also, I just wanted to say you're a member of the American Cymatics, which is the really cool stuff that you play sound in, and it makes lots of patterns. I'm really simplifying that there. But if you want to find out more about that, you can also email Stephen. But just to leave, can you just leave us with, because obviously we've touched on lots of different subjects, but let's just be left with something that we can sound, like we've done that breath through the nose. Do you have any chants or sounds that can relax our nervous system, just to finish up on, so we can just wrap that up?
Yeah, and the easiest one, honestly, is a very simple one. You just simply hum. So that it's a and you can do that whatever pitch you like, whatever feels right. And I'll describe that in a moment. But the background, as any yogi will tell you, the background sound of the universe is actually a hum. And it sounds like that. For me, that's the right pitch. And the best way of testing it, if you just hum at the back of your throat and then feel the effect within your head. And
yeah, you can feel the
more it
vibrations.
vibrates really within the back of your neck and up around the skull, and the more that pitch is perfect for you. And that will be a very naturally relaxing sound for you. So there are plenty of
that's our
other...
reptilian brain, isn't it, as well? That's going up through our thalamus gate, and that's relaxing, our reptilian brain, or kind of where we want to get the sound up into our creation center, our
certainly going through the
frontal lobe.
hypothalamus. That's certainly true. And
the
but keep it simple. You would feel a sort of, the more vibration you feel in your head, the more effect it's having, and the more relaxing that will be. So I might say,
so just take a nice deep breath. Let's just do it together. Let's just do it together. Take a nice deep breath again, filling up all the way up, and then just come in with a
and up.
Was that a good pitch? I could feel the vibrations moving up. You really can. That's incredible, actually. And also the vibrations is really good because it's relaxing also of the vagus nerve, isn't it? Which just goes all the way around our body, which opens us up and just kind of puts us in a state of just relax and release, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that'll help. Well, that's a good way of starting. And so there are plenty more things you can do afterwards, but to get people started,
it's a long journey. We've got some really good information to get people started. So if you're feeling helpless and hopeless, and you're just waiting for diagnosis, or you're dealing with stress, trauma, anything like this, you can really come to this for anything: chronic physical health, mental health, emotional health, anything, because there really is no separation. So if you're feeling in that place, then please contact me, please contact Steve, and I'll put the links down here. And at this time, we've got to kind of be really sharing information and getting as much stuff out there to people as possible.
Okay, great.
So thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate that so much. And contact Stephen, because he is literally amazing. He's done so much for me, and I just want to say thank you for that, Stephen. Thank you. I'm so glad that we were supposed to meet that day at that gong bath, because nothing happens, just happens.
Nothing happens by chance. All right. Thanks, JC.
Thank you so much, and have a great day. Okay, take care.
Bye.
See ya. Did you take the recording off?
I'm going to try and work out how to do that. Hang on a second.
I think that went rather well.
Yeah, I think so. I think there you go.